Hey, my perfect Pisces, and welcome to your general abundance reading. That is going to be a general reading that leans more towards wealth, finance, career, money, all that good kind of stuff. Do remember this is just a general reading, so please do take what resonates and toss the rest. Also, if you enjoy this kind of reading, please do let me know by liking, subscribing, sharing, commenting, hitting the notification bell, all that great stuff. I greatly appreciate it. It does help me grow my channel. And I will be putting up some hopefully love-leaning readings, if that's more your jam, coming soon, and you don't want to miss that. And if you hit that notification bell, you'll get a notification. So without further ado, we're going to use a typical tarot deck to do a past, present, future spread, and we will use the abundance deck towards the end for a little bit of a clarifier here. So let's go ahead and get started here and see what we've got to work with in the past, present, and future. And of course, we'll go through this more in detail as we go along. But to start, it looks like we have the Nine of Pentacles and we have the Four of Swords. So I feel like you guys are doing really well financially in the past, but you've worked yourself into submission. So for a lot of you, maybe you are kind of just beat down, right? You've made some good money, you've made some good financial moves, some good choices, but at this point you really need some respite, right? Some time off, some relaxation, excuse me. And you know, it's gotten to that point where, you know, it's kind of broken you a little bit, to be honest. So for some of you, you may just be like, enough's enough. For others of you, depending on what time of your life it is, you may be like, I'm time to retire. And if that's something that you've been thinking about, the cards are kind of there. You know, they're saying, you know, you've made enough to where maybe you can consider that. Maybe consider, you know, weaning yourself down. Maybe you can consider investing and having a little bit less active hand, or being more of a silent partnership, or what have you, because it looks like you've really done a great job of working in the past here, but you are getting to that point where you're really exhausted. You're wearing yourself out. So let's grab another card on that one just to kind of see. And it's the Three of Swords. So with that, that's usually typically heartbreak. But when we're leaning more towards a financial end, a lot of that can be heartbreak, because for a lot of you, you may have poured yourself so much into work, finance, things like that, you know, for you, you've kind of neglected the rest of your life. And that may be for a lot of you, you realize that, you know what, I've let a lot of my other, you know, personal life go. Maybe I've worked so much, amassing a fortune, doing so much other stuff, that maybe I've neglected to really develop relationships or family, you know, ties, or a love, you know, in my life. Or, you know, maybe your family has broken apart. And a lot of the complaint was, you know, hey, you've worked too much. You never had time for us, you know. So if that's kind of where you are, or you feel like that's what's happened in your past, you know, that may be something where you need to kind of take that rest and think about it. You know, it's not that things may not even be fixable for you, but I do feel like, you know, work has kind of led you to that. And for others of you, this may be a heartbreak because you just love to work, really and truly. You know, maybe you're coming to a point where you know you need to give it up. You know, you need to give up the ghost. You're exhausted. You know, it's not behooving you anymore to work. You know, you're at that point where it's like, okay, I've got to do something about it. I'm working myself into submission. You know, it's just not good for me anymore. But you know, it's hard for you, right? It's hard for you to let go, because this is all you've ever known, right? You are that's what you were raised to do, right? You were raised to have that work ethic, to work yourself into submission, to, you know, work every day, all day, put in the grind, make the money. That's what you do, right? So this is kind of hard in itself. It's almost kind of heart-wrenching to kind of step back a little bit. But I do feel like the Four of Swords here is just letting me know that, you know, you really do need that rest. And it could be, you know, that's kind of a warning that maybe you've had some health issues lately. You know, maybe there's some indicators there that are kind of telling you, hey, listen. And this could really even seriously be, maybe some of you are having some heart trouble, some heart issues. Maybe there's things that they're saying, you know, even your doctors are telling you, look, you better slow down, you know, or things are going to get dicey, right? And, you know, you don't want to mess with your health, right? You know, you can always make more money. Money comes and goes, jobs come and go, but nobody at the end of their life says, I wish I'd worked more, right? And so you don't, you know, this may be something where, especially if you're battling with your health because you're working so much, you know, this could be a clear-cut sign that it's time to step back, right? So let's go into the kind of current stage. And again, time is fluid in tarot, so you may still be here. You may still be kind of getting those signs, or maybe you're just not feeling the best. Maybe you need to go to the doctor and check it out. Why am I so tired all the time? What's going on? You know, this may be an indicator that something, you know, needs to be checked out. Maybe you have just been going at it so hard for so long that you really have neglected yourself, your health. You know, we all can get in that kind of mode where we're just going at it so hard we don't really take the time out to really take care of our own health, our medical, you know, whatever, and maybe you just need to get checked out. So, you know, I'm not a doctor, but maybe you need to see one. So if you're not feeling great, if you're feeling really, really exhausted, tired, beat down. So let's go into this current thing. And here we have the Lovers in reverse. Okay. And that lets me know, again, I do feel like for some of you, again, not all of you in the collective, but for some of you, again, I do feel like the heartbreak there is that perhaps you have, you know, either lost someone because of, you know, your work has taken you away from someone, your finances have taken you away from someone, or, you know, they've just kind of given up, you know, trying to get your attention. Maybe you were trying to dabble in dating or this or that, but that's taken such a backseat to other things in your life that you just really haven't had a chance to develop that relationship card. And I think this may be kind of the time where they're saying, you know, spirit, your guide, whomever it is that you believe in this regard, is saying, hey, you know what, it's time to kind of, you know, focus on yourself. You know, this is telling you, focus on yourself, focus on yourself. We're kind of getting that kind of motivation there. So the next card is the King of Wands in reverse. And again, I think this is your energy, again, gender neutral, but I think you have that kingly energy. Okay. You have that energy to create opportunities, build opportunities, but you're not really putting it out there right now. Right. And I think it is because you're exhausted. I think it is because you've just been, you know, firing on all cylinders with business opportunities and things like that. And it's all starting back here with this Nine of Pentacles. You know, money has been a driving factor, career, finance, those things have been such a driving factor, that you really haven't developed a lot of other aspects of your life maybe. And so you're still kind of hesitant to do that right now. But I do think that that's something that you need to develop. You know, I think that's something that there is someone out there for you, or there are better options for you. So if you're going through a split, you're going through a breakup, and some of it's maybe they're saying, you're not paying attention to me. You're not giving me enough, you know, chance, opportunity, time, energy, whatever. You know, this is maybe where you can turn this around and, you know, have the opportunity to show them a little bit more attention, affection, what have you. So let's get another card on that. Okay, so we have the Ten of Swords here. And again, so I feel like maybe you feel stabbed in the back. And again, with this going with the heartbreak card over here, I do feel like, you know, you feel like you've worked yourself into submission. And from your standpoint, of course, there's two views of every story, of course. So from your standpoint, because maybe that's what you were trained to do, what you felt like you needed to do, was you've held down whatever it is that you've worked at, okay? Whether it was the home, whether it was working outside the home, whether it was making the money, whatever it was, you've held that down, okay? And you've done the best you can, right? So you feel like you've done what you were supposed to do, right? They see it as neglectful, okay, in some regard. So that's where the heartbreak has come in, because you feel like, hey, I was doing this for you. And they feel like you were kind of doing it in spite of them, right? So that's kind of caused the heartbreak situation, and it's kind of caused you to feel stabbed in the back, right? Because if they're leaving you, or they're cheating on you, or they're taking your money from you, or whatever they're doing, that's causing this Lover's card to flip, that's causing you to be a little off kilter as your King of Wands. I feel like that is because it's a misunderstanding of how you guys have approached a situation in regards to finances and work and things like that. Because I feel like one of you's feeling like, hey, you know, I really, really, really worked my tail off for this, you know, because that's what I thought you needed from me. And I feel like that's where you felt like you were needed in that regard. And on the other hand, you know, the other person may have felt like, you know, or vice versa even. But the same thing, the other person felt like, you know what, it's fine to work and to make some money and this and that, but you know what, I wanted more of this. Or you feel like, you know, I was stabbed in the back because nothing I ever did was good enough, right? Nothing, it didn't matter how much I worked, didn't matter how much I gave, never good enough, right? So it's really kind of a stab in the back, right, to you. That's how you feel. So let's grab another one on here. Ten of Wands. So this burden is heavy on you, right? This is a heavy, heavy burden. You feel like you've done everything you can do. You've really done it. You've worn yourself out. You've literally worn yourself out to provide, to be the best you can, to, you know, I don't care if it's raising the kids. I don't care if it's paying the bills. I don't care if it's running the house, whatever it is. You've worn yourself out for this person. And then you feel like they've just stabbed you in the back. So, you know, you've created a lovely, you know, abundant, you know, life in the past here. And now it's all just kind of slamming you in the back with a stab in the back, burden on you, everything else, because, you know, you just don't, it's kind of like you don't understand it. You're kind of left like, I don't understand what I did, what I was supposed to do, right? I feel like that's what you feel like. And you're exhausted and you don't know what to, you know, you don't know how to handle that, right? But it's time to put those burdens down. And I think you're going to move into that more so. I really do feel like that. And it may be that you don't have an option. You have to. But I do feel like, you know, you really do feel like you were done wrong, because I don't think that any part of this is something where you didn't feel like you were trying your hardest and doing your very, very best. Everything I see here is showing that. So let's move into your future section here. And we have the Seven of Swords in reverse. So that's letting me know right there, right out the gate, that you are, you know you need to move forward. You know you need to pick up what you've got, head out, move forward. You're not, you know, you're not struggling. You're not trying to decide on things, this and that. You know, you really know what you need to do. It's just not something you want to do. It may be not something you were hoping for, but you know you got to move forward, and you're strong and you're going to. So it's not a problem for you. You can do that. It's just not what you expected. It's not, it's kind of, I feel like a lot of you were kind of blindsided by some of this. I really, truly do. And the Two of Wands here in reverse is letting me know that, you know, you're having to make a decision, but you don't want to. This is not something you wanted to choose. Now, can you make the most of that? Absolutely. Have you been able to be strong throughout? Absolutely. Have you done everything you've ever needed to do? Absolutely. Can you make it? Absolutely. But was this what you wanted? Not necessarily. Okay, so let's get another one here. Knight of Swords. Okay, so I feel like there is going to be big opportunity coming in for you. Okay, strong, powerful opportunity. This could be someone new for you. Okay, this could be a new opportunity for you for a relationship, or it could be a new opportunity for you to, you know, go out there. And if you are somebody who, you know, you feel like I worked, and somebody, you know, didn't appreciate that, didn't respect that, okay? This could be your opportunity to go right back out there and do what you need to do, but for yourself this time, you know, where, look, if they're not going to treat me right, if they're not going to respect it, if they're going to take it in the wrong way, if they're not going to accept that that's what I was doing was this for them, then I'll do it for myself. Because obviously I feel stabbed in the back, I feel alone, you know, these kinds of things. And if that's the feeling that you're getting, you know, this is somebody who is going to, you know, appreciate it, help give you opportunities, help support you along the way. This is strong, fast moving, powerful person coming into you. Okay. So I think that's great. That's what you need. You need somebody to have your back, somebody who's going to be there for you, especially when you're kind of feeling down and out a little bit, you know, kind of disillusioned, I think, right now, right? So let's see, we'll get another one here. King of Pentacles in reverse. And again, I do feel like, you know, you are taking a financial step back. And I feel like that's because, you know, anytime there is a split here, and I'm seeing somebody really, again, whether this is a partnership split in a business, whether this is a family split, whether this is a, you know, a split from your job, you know, whatever kind of split this is, where you were really feeling like this was a connection and now it's broken, and you feel like you were done wrong, you were stabbed in the back, you were treated poorly, you weren't respected for the work you did, you weren't treated fairly with all this. Obviously, I do feel like you have that kingly power. Absolutely. No doubt. You can make things happen. You can make big bucks. You can make things happen. You can make abundance just, you know, in spades. It's not a problem, but I do feel like you are taking a step back. Okay. And not anytime there's instability, there's changes, you kind of take one step forward, 2 steps back. Right. So that's not to say you won't continue to move forward at an even faster pace, especially now with this Knight of Swords. Okay. This Knight of Swords coming in could be your key, your ticket. You know, you only need one person to support you and really give you an opportunity to change your entire life, especially if you've been dealing with unsupportive people or people who've been stabbing you in the back. You know, that's not helpful at all, right? So just know that, you know, you may take a financial step back. You know, it may be a hit to you, depending on what this split was. Again, this may be, you may have been in a partnership with your significant other. And so this is a double whammy, right? This is a financial and emotional split. Really painful, right? Because now you're taking a hit in your pocketbook and, you know, in your pocketbook and your heart. Double time, right? But, you know, again, I think that this is something where you get a chance to kind of start afresh and move forward. So let's get a last card here. Queen of Wands. So I feel like this is your energy where, again, you have those opportunities, okay? You're going to continue to have those opportunities, but you're kind of reserving them. And I do feel like it is because you are once bitten, twice shy, okay? That's the feeling I'm getting from all of this. I feel like you are really disillusioned right now. I feel like right now, whatever has happened to you, whether somebody has stabbed you in the back in business, a partner, a spouse, a significant other, somebody has left you, it's broken your heart. I mean, not necessarily that it was a relationship that broke your heart. I do feel like that's for some of you happened. But it could have just broken your heart, you know, because you felt like this was someone who was a friend, was loyal to you, was a partner in business, was somebody who you can't count on, you know. So take it as it resonates for you personally. But regardless, I feel like you've gone through a loss after working so hard, doing so much, trying your very best, really doing the best you can. And I feel like that's been a really big burden to you, this stabbing in the back, this separation, this broken heart, what have you. And so I feel like you are taking a step back and you are kind of, you know, pulling yourself back a little bit before you move forward. And I feel like, again, it's just that you are kind of gun shy. You're kind of afraid to really take a lot of risks to move forward with people, with partners, with businesses, with whatever right now, because you have been affected. You've been affected negatively, emotionally, financially, mentally. You know, your heart's a little bit broken, wrecked, you know, and financially you may be left kind of trying to gather yourself before you kind of move forward, because occasionally, depending on what business you were in, things like that, it can take money to make money. And if you've kind of been hit there, it can cause you to have to slow down on that regard too. But I do feel like you still have that queenly power. You still have that kingly power. I mean, you still have strong energies here. The ability to make opportunities happen, the ability to make huge money, okay? You have them in you. You are just, I think, really kind of holding them in for right now. You're sitting on them for right now. And that's okay. If that's what you feel like you need to do is take a moment, that's okay, right? Everybody needs to take a moment every now and then, especially when their world's been rocked, when they've been stabbed in the back, those kinds of things. But, you know, with this Knight of Swords, I do think that's somebody who's going to come into you and really kind of get you fired up, give you an opportunity. And you really need to keep your eyes open for that person and allow them to kind of lead you in a way that let them be their, you know, your supporter. Let them be your biggest cheerleader. Let them show you if there's, you know, positions or opportunities or whatever open for you, to make the most of it. Because I do think you have so much in you. You're just kind of guarding it right now because you're a little bit like hesitant after what you've been through. So, and I do think, you know, it's completely understandable because it does look like you've gone through some things recently and will be, you know, going through some things here throughout, you know, the month. You may be right in the throes of this right now. And it's a long process for a lot of these things, especially if it's like a divorce or a split in business and severing ties and things like that. You know, that's a long, painful, drawn out, expensive process again. So, you know, it's not something people come out of gung-ho like, yippee, let's go hit it hard and get a new job and find new people and have new fun most of the time. Not always, but most of the time. So let's get some clarifiers here from the abundance deck and see what we've got. Okay. So true offering, and I feel like this is exactly perfect for this first row because that's what you were doing. You were making true offerings. You were giving of yourself. You gave everything you had to give to this partnership, this relationship, this business, whatever it was that you were giving. You truly were giving of yourself in a way that you felt was genuine, doing the best you could. You were not trying to be, you know, anything but, you know, yourself, genuinely trying to help, do what you were supposed to do. You thought you were doing right. So for anything that didn't come out in a good way, or that people misconstrued, or that people treated you poorly about, you did not understand. You didn't see that coming. Okay. So it's not uncommon for you to be kind of like shocked by this or rocked by this, because I do feel like you really were truly, trying your best. Humility. And I think this is something that we all go through when we kind of get screwed over. Frankly, sorry to say that. Sounds awful, but it's true. And I feel like that's what's happening to you here. I feel like somebody's stabbing you in the back. You're carrying a heavy burden. You don't feel your best. I mean, you've got the power and you've got the energy in you. You can do a million things, but when your world's been rocked because somebody else is kind of either using and abusing you, or, tossing you out with any regard for how much you've put into something, it will teach you humility, right? Even when you don't really need that lesson, right? It still is a reminder, hey, things don't always work out. Life isn't always fair, unfortunately. So I think, that's kind of what's happening here, but it does teach you to be more guarded. And so you'll learn lessons from that and carry those forward that will help you in the future, hopefully, be more guarded with who you pour your time, effort, and energy into, and what you put your heart and soul into. So, if you can learn that lesson, then it's not a loss completely, right? And flow. And I do think this is a good one for the last row here for you, because I do feel like that's kind of what you're doing. This is not something you chose. This is not something you wanted, but you are having to go with the flow, and you're kind of hesitantly going with the flow, or cautiously going with the flow, as well you should, right? I mean, who could blame you? But I do feel like that's kind of what you're doing. And that Knight of Swords is giving me hope for you, for sure, that someone is going to be coming in that's going to offer you an opportunity, possibly be a great cheerleader for you, could even in the long term be somebody who's more than just an opportunity or a work companion or a partner, but, an actual relationship too, maybe multiple faceted type of character there in your life. But at this point, you're just going with the flow, and that's okay. And I think that's what you need to do, because back here you were exhausted anyway. And I think it's going to take some time for you to kind of build back up and get to a place where you feel comfortable and confident, kind of deciding who you can trust, who to put your time and effort and energy into, what to put your time and effort and energy into, and to move forward with it. So I do think this is probably the best thing to do right now, is just kind of go with the flow. Don't jump into anything. Don't try to fight too much, because anytime you've been knocked down or really blindsided, the last thing you want to do is come up swinging. It's really just, you're basically jumping off emotions, right? And that's usually never a good thing. It's not a good thing to react off emotions typically. It's a much better idea to kind of let yourself settle and react off, due diligence of, processing, doing your background information. What do I need to do with my life? Planning, those kinds of things. So that's all kind of coming with the flow, taking your time. So I think everything hopefully will start to get better for you as you go. But I do think right now you are just going through a particularly hard time. And I do think it is taking you back some steps financially. Unfortunately, I hate to say that. But even more so emotionally for some of you. So financially and emotionally, but hopefully by, year's end, things will start looking up, and hopefully you can, sever yourself from some of the people or things that haven't been the best for you. Because I do believe karma is real. And I think that, you will definitely come out on top in the end. So hopefully if this resonated with you, blessings to you, and hopefully things will get better for you. Otherwise, I hope to see you back soon. And don't forget to subscribe, like all that other stuff. And I hope to see you soon. Bye.